Okay, this is the third video in the Laws of Indices series, looking at Law 2 Division Law, but this time with coefficients. Okay, let's get straight into an example. Or one. So if I asked you to simplify 12x to the power 4 divided by 3x squared, then this time we have coefficients in front of our letters, in front of our x to the power 4, the coefficient is 12, and for x squared the coefficient is 3. So just like I explained coefficients in the multiplication law video. So what do we do here? Well, I prefer to rewrite this as a fraction, and what that does, as you'll see, is group the parts together that I want to work with. Okay, so in the multiplication video I put the coefficients at the front and the letters towards the end, because we always have numbers in front of letters when, as part of our laws of algebra. But also because with the multiplication law, if you remember, you multiply the coefficients just like you would normal numbers, because they are, and then you add the powers. So by writing this as a fraction, I have grouped my coefficients together. See, the 12 is above the 3, and I grouped my powers of x together, same base, so I can employ my division law. So one step at a time, we do 12 divided by 3, which is of course 4, and then x to the 4 divided by x squared is x to the 4 minus 2, because we subtract the powers when we divide, and that gives me 4x squared. So let me recap on that. So the first thing I like to do is to rewrite this as a fraction, and that groups the coefficients together and groups my letters together. And then I simplify one step at a time. Do the coefficients first and then deal with the indices. Okay, let's look at one more example then. It's down here. Okay, simplify 20a to the power 7 divided by 4a to the minus 2. Now, so I deliberately picked an example here with one of the powers is negative, or one of the indices is negative. Okay, so like I did just now, I'm going to just put my pen up so I can move the page up a bit. Okay, so the first step that I'm going to do is rewrite it as a fraction, 20a to the power 7 all over 4a to the minus 2, and that groups my coefficients together and groups my powers together. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. A to the power 7 divided by a to the minus 2 is a to the 7 subtract minus 2. Now remember what we did with that when we used our division law, and we had similar powers when we did that. Then subtracting a negative is the same as adding. So this becomes this, and then of course this becomes this. So 5a to the power 9. So 7 take away minus 2. Remember, that's what we're doing with the powers. The powers are powers of 7 and a power of minus 2. I can use the law because the base is the same. Remember, the base has to be the same. And so with the powers, I have to do the first power, 7, subtract minus 2, which is what I've written there. And subtracting a negative is the same as adding. All right. And one more example to finish. Here we go. Oops. Example 3. Simplify 24p to the 7 divided by 8q to the 4. So 24p to the power 7 divided by 8q to the power 4. So let's write it as a fraction first, so that we group our coefficients together and group our letters together with our indices. Okay, so in this example, yes, I can do 24 divided by 8. That's a nice 3. Oh, press the button on my pen. That's a nice 3. And p to the 7 divided by q to the 4. Right, well, p to the power 7 and q to the power 4, the bases are different. P is different to q. So I can't use my division law because the bases are different. So there's nothing I can do with them. So literally, on the top stays p to the power 7, and all over the bottom stays q to the power 4. And there is my answer. Alright, so let's just quickly recap. We've got 3 examples. One where the powers are both positive, we got the base the same, and I showed you that we write as a fraction first, 12 divided by 3, to group the coefficients together to get a nice 4, and then we subtract the powers, as we've learned before when we first learned the division law. And the second example, similar type question, except one of the powers, one of the indices, is negative, and write as a fraction is the first step, because it groups the coefficients, groups the letters, base is the same, so we can use the law. So 7 subtract minus 2 is 7 add 2 is 9. And the final one is when the letters are different, so the bases are different, so we can't do anything with them. Okay, thanks very much.